And to your point, like when you start to talk about purpose, because
Yeah.
if I'm talking to somebody that I'm coaching, one of the first things that we have to do is get clarity,
Hmm.
right? And purpose is part of that clarity in
Hmm.
terms of what are you looking for? What is the life that you're looking to create? And that's
Hmm.
what you were hitting on, right?
Right.
Getting back to when you talked about North Carolina and how it made you feel. Now
Yeah.
you're thinking about what is the quality of life that I'm seeking
Yep.
and what will get me there, right?
Yeah.
What does where does my career fit into that?
Yeah.
And what profession would make the most sense for where I am right now?
Hmm.
And also looking at obviously you got to look at your skill set.
Yeah.
You got to look at what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So it's with passions, your skills, your and gifts, right? What's your value set, your
Hmm.
value system, and you want to make sure you're in a profession and work for an employer that aligns with your values.
Yeah.
That can affect industry, employer,
Yeah.
different choices along that line. But
Yeah.
all of what we're talking about involves us a lot of intentionality.
Yeah.
And I think you and I have talked about this, what's missing from a lot of people's career planning and
Hmm.
approach to lifestyle design, as you say, which career is just one component of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, if you get too focused on one or the other, then you miss the picture, right? You have to look at everything holistically in totality and then see how the puzzle pieces fit together because the profession that you might choose
Hmm.
might create a lifestyle professionally that doesn't align with your personal desire of
Yeah.
lifestyle. How often does
Oh,
that happen?
how about this, right? The profession that you choose may not choose you. It just might be a mismatch, right? And I think sometimes also maybe generationally or culturally, you know, changing can be seen as giving up, right? And the ego doesn't want you to give up. No, we're going to make this work. Now, you're going to see how good I am at this, even though it's taking me way more energy to do this thing, right? That hasn't chose me. That if I would just allow myself to spend the time to do the introspection to figure out where I best fit, and even if that meant taking a detour to
Mhm.
get there and figure and realize that it takes a lot less energy, right? And I make a lot more money, or my lifestyle is a lot closer to what I have in my mind for my design.
Mhm.
Um, when I actually connect to what does choose me, right? And
Yeah.
again, sometimes it goes to the to watching people's highlights or hearing what sounds, sexy and interesting to say that I am a fill in the blank, um, versus, you know, man, this is what I love to do and I'm passionate about this, right? You know, um, yeah,
Yeah.
pick a career, but I think the older I get and the more we evaluate, my wife and I evaluate our lifestyle design and who we are as people now in our 40s, um, what we want to have and what we want to demonstrate for our kids and our nieces and our nephews and anybody that we interact and touch in terms of what's possible and how we do that, you end up revisiting and realizing that, hey, I've put a lot of way too much accountability on the name on my paycheck than even on myself, right?
Yeah.
And when you realize that and realize that, um, oftentimes, some people are lucky, but oftentimes that feeling you get when you're locked in and doing something that's aligned with your purpose, whether it's for compensation or not, oftentimes we don't actually achieve that through our employer, right? And when you realize that and you acknowledge that this is for a purpose, right? This is what this relationship with my employer or my business, even if I'm an entrepreneur, right? Because not every entrepreneur is in an industry doing a thing because they are passionate about that thing, right? But that allows them to achieve an outcome, right?
Yeah.
Or it connects with a lifestyle design that they have. And so they know that in order they put it through, they put that business or they put that career or that job in the right perspective.
Yeah. 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 That's a part of it too.
Yeah,
And it depends on who you are.
absolutely.
You just have to be clear on who you are and what's important to you and what your values are.
Yeah.
Your your passion can be your profession, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
It might not. Your profession might be a means to your passion.
At bingo.
Yeah. Yeah. So your passion might be something outside of the actual job but your job gives you the means to pursue that, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And also I think there's been a trend of entrepreneurship's great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's great for if that's what's, if it's for you,
Yeah.
outstanding. It's not for everybody,
Right.
right? And so you can find a passion and think you want to monetize it, right?
Hmm.
And get into it. And people are thinking maybe they want to escape the what they call the rat race, right? The
Yeah.
9 to 5. They don't want to work for anybody else. They're trying to escape, and
Yeah.
they're pursuing entrepreneurship as a means to do that. So maybe they do it aligned with the skill set they built,
Yeah.
or aligned with the passion that they have, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out how to monetize it, grow it. Can I grow it to the point where it'll replace my income enough for me to make that move and jump over? That's the right move for some people.
Right.
However, you can also build yourself a prison,
You
uh,
can.
a new prison, right?
Yeah.
Because one turning your passion into your profession can actually take the joy out of it as well,
Absolutely.
right? So part of this could be maybe looking at things a little differently and getting outside the mindset of I have to get my living from one thing, right?
Right. Right.
You could have a passion
Hmm.
pursuit and you could even monetize it and have a side income and still maintain your profession at the same time to
Yeah.
help give you some balance and stability. It takes all the pressure off you for having to keep that passion project afloat
Yeah.
because you're not using it to provide for your family, right?
Hmm.
Now you can enjoy it for the joy of it, monetize it, have some additional income, relieve some pressure from
Yeah.
your profession, your day job, right? So that if something's going on there, I know we all work to grow and get promoted, but it takes a little bit of the pressure off of that a little
Yeah.
bit, right? And
Yeah.
so your happiness and joy in both could be greater
Hmm.
by not putting all your eggs in one basket or the other.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's something some people think about as an option or a way to approach things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think you're right. And it's something that I would definitely encourage people want to explore, right? You start thinking about your hobby to interest aligning with your purpose and your passion, and could that be something you could monetize? Because let's be honest, right? And I'll say this too. I encourage everyone to continue to grow, to ideate, to let's say test what might be the right path for you, especially if you're thinking about, how do you align your income potential with the lifestyle plan we've been talking about here.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely, but be honest in who you are, right? And if you're at a stage in your life where aligning with a corporation or an existing business with infrastructure to allow you to earn a living is where you need to be right now, do that, because those are incubators for you to learn operationally what it takes to run a
On a
business, right?
business.
Learn,
Absolutely.
yeah, to learn what services you will need when you do grow your business, right? And as you start it small and scale it, you can pull from that experience. I
Yeah.
equated, and I might have said this in one of our other videos, Jonathan. I remember years ago, I um, like many people probably out there if you're watching this video, and maybe not because I'm of a different generation. Multi-level marketing programs were huge, and some still are, and they have good and bad reputations. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest things I learned came from one of those organizations because they were really big on personal development. And there was a book that was in cycle for that particular month. And the author of that book was hosting a speaking event near where I was living. And I
Okay.
went out and met him. The gentleman owned several McDonald's, right? But what he talked about was what led him to that, say, goal of being an entrepreneur in that way and owning some franchises was that during his time, say, working for someone else, his mindset was every opportunity or every job or every role that he had during that period where he was still working for someone else in his career was a paid internship.
Yeah.
And he had the philosophy of I'm going to learn, I'm going to earn, and I'm going to move on, right? And he framed it in an 18 month to 2 year cycle, learn, earn, and move on. All right. Because he realized, and if you do any research to this day, you're in the HR space, right?
Yeah.
Statistics show that when it comes to income progression, those who change roles or even organizations
Yeah.
every couple of years,
Yeah.
their salary increases outpace, I wish I could do this,
Stay in one
outpace
place. Stay in one place.
those that stay in one place, even if they continue to get increases.
Yeah.
And so that, transparency was huge even for me early on. So while if you look at my career, I don't have, in my 20 years, I don't have 10 corporations on my resume. But I promise you, if you look, I probably have 10 different roles on in my experience because you have to continue to seek opportunity and not wait for it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to and continue to grow and develop yourself above and beyond whatever training you might be hoping your company provides you. Right. Well, nobody told me that training was available. They didn't give me the opportunity to go to that training. One of the things I realized when I started talking to a lot of people and just understanding the power of just career conversations, mentorship, is that they were in the driver's seat,
Absolutely.
totally in the driver's seat, right? They were asking for opportunity, right? Above and beyond their roles and responsibilities based on their job title. They were looking for chances to show and prove why they should be in that next role or promoted to that next level well before any leader or somebody came and said, hey, we think you're ready. Because the reality is this, and I'll say going way back early in my career from job mindset to career mindset, job mindset had me at, they don't pay me to do that, right? Career mindset and realization was, wait a minute, I have to show that I showed them that I'm capable of doing that before they would
Or
pay me
they,
to do
yeah, yeah, in advance.
but we have to be okay, you know, doing that. And again, gaining that experience, letting our roots of our tree grow, right? Letting that experience that we can gain before we sprout up, right? And show how great we are.
Yeah.
Going through that nurturing cycle. And quite honestly, John, I think that's one of the things I worry about with the next generation and that we're trying to teach our son, my wife and I are trying to teach our sons is, and I hate to even use the term delayed gratification, but more so hard work comes before success in any walk of life, right? They play sports right now. And my son was getting frustrated, last season with his batting average and why he was striking out. And if anybody watches baseball, he's a big kid, so he can very strong. He's a cleanup hitter, bats in the fourth spot. And so being the biggest kid, looking like you can crush the ball, he saw a ton of curveballs. So we had a conversation. I was like, well, how much have you practiced hitting off speed pitches? Do not be upset about success that you didn't get from work that you didn't put in.
Mm. Say that
And
one
so,
more time. Say that,
yeah,
hold on. Say that one more time.
do not be upset about success that you didn't get from work that you didn't put in.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Amen.
that applies everywhere. You, you're not losing the weight you want to lose. You're not gaining the muscle you want to gain. Not getting promoted at work.
Mhm.
You don't feel like if it's a spiritual situation, you don't feel like, man, God is showing up in your life in the way you would hope that He would. Um, you're not feeling that your relationships are reciprocal, right? Let's look in the mirror. But at the end of the day, let's focus on the habits. Let's focus on the work, man, and then the outcome should take care of itself.